What's up, tribe? So if you're new to this channel, my name's Jacob. I'm out here doing a walk with my dog, and what I want to talk about today are the top 5 things I wish I would have known at age 18, because these things that I'm about to mention would have saved me a lot of heartache, would have saved me a lot of turmoil, a lot of guessing, and really just a lot of time. So to get right into it, number 1 is that nobody really cares. Nobody really cares about your health. Nobody really cares about you or your health, your well-being, your diet, none of that stuff more than you do. You are your own best health advocate. You're the only one that's going to have your best interests in mind. Nobody else is going to care the way you care about yourself and about your health. That can be a hard fact to accept, but it's the truth. And I don't mean that nobody really cares about you. I mean, obviously you have friends and family, you have relatives, you have people in your life that's going to care for you and care about you. But when it comes to your health, it's going to be more important to you than to anybody else. So yes, there's some people that might care, but they're not going to care in the way that you do, and they're not going to give you the attention that you deserve. And that goes for doctors, that goes for anybody that works in the healthcare field, the medical industry. It doesn't matter who it is, you are going to be your best health advocate. At the end of the day, what it boils down to is that they don't feel what you feel. They're not experiencing your pain. They don't feel your suffering. So they can't have the same level of care and compassion that you have for yourself. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually a really good thing, because what that does, or what it did for me, is it empowered me. Because once I realized that, and I realized that I was the only one that had my best interests in mind, it really forced me to take action and to do things that were going to set me up for success and not drag my feet. Because I kind of realized that there was nobody that was going to save me. You know, all these people that were trying to help me out, they had good intentions, but they just never ended up getting me there. And I realized that if I wanted to get there, I had to take matters into my own hands, and I did that. It really gave me a drive and determination that I would not have had otherwise, had these people have given me the same level of care and attention that I would have given myself. It's empowering to know that your health is in your hands, and you can absolutely, once you're driven enough and once you want it bad enough, you can heal yourself. And though you might need help along the way, it's going to drive you to find that help. It's going to drive you to find all the answers and to not stop and not give up until you've reached your goals. So number 2 is that in the grand scheme of things, nothing really matters. Nothing matters. And what I mean by that is just, it really doesn't matter what you do in life. It doesn't matter what path you take, what decision you make, all the opportunities that you seize or that you pass up, all your accomplishments, your failures. In the grand scheme of things, none of that stuff really matters. And the people that focus on power, and they focus on money and greed, and you know, they really treat people badly just to get ahead, and they hold on to all this power and they feel like they have to have it all. None of that power, none of that money has any meaning whatsoever, because in the end we all wind up in the same place. And I don't mean that in a religious sense. I don't mean that we wind up in heaven or hell. I mean that we wind up dead. None of us are getting out of this alive. So you can have all the power in the world, you can have the fame, the money, you can have the biggest house, the fastest cars, you can have all this stuff, but at the end of the day, when your ticket is punched, none of that stuff is going to matter. And what's going to matter the most is what you did with your life, who you helped along the way, who you empowered, the positivity that you gave back to the world, the impact that you had on the people around you. Those are the things that matter. It's essentially about leaving a legacy behind. And for somebody like myself who doesn't have kids, and at this point in my life, I'm 40 years old, I'm not going to have any kids. I'm not going to be leaving anything behind except for the impact that I can make in the world while I'm here. There's nobody that's going to carry on my name, carry on my legacy. The only thing that's going to carry on after I'm gone is what I leave behind for everybody. And what I realized after years and years and a couple decades of, you know, trying to build up money and trying to do all these fabulous things with my life and live this amazing lifestyle, not lavish, but just to have all the things I wanted, is that, you know, I was traveling all the time. I was gone a lot. I never got to enjoy anything I had. And I just came to realize that none of that stuff mattered. Like I could lose all that tomorrow and I'm still gonna be the same person. And the people that, you know, basically just run people over to get all this power and to get all this money, and they're just horrible, horrible human beings. That's my biggest question, is what in the world is it all for? I mean, what's the point? Because again, at the end of the day, we're all gonna wind up in the same place. And to me, it would make more sense to do something that empowers people, something that lifts people up, brings positivity to the world, something that makes the world a better place. That's what I want to leave behind. So the third thing I wish I would have known at the age of 18, that I had to learn the hard way and find out after 2 decades, is that health is the most important thing that we all have, above time and above everything else, because health buys you time. It buys you the ability to do all the things in life that you want to do, the ability to live life on your terms, and just to pursue your dreams, your passions, and to get out of life what you want. Because without your health, you're stuck in a perpetual cycle of worry and detriment. And when you're in that cycle of worry and detriment, you can't focus on anything else except just that, your health. And the same thing goes with the people around you. When the people that you love and care about are sick, that's all you can think about. That's all you can focus on. So it puts your life on the back burner. And it's supposed to be the opposite. Your life is supposed to be at the forefront of everything you do. You're supposed to be able to chase your dreams, your passions. You're supposed to be able to get out of life what you want without all this fear, without all this pain and suffering, and without being held back. And what I've learned over the past 20 years is that prioritizing your health now and getting your health in order is the thing that's going to get you there. The fourth thing I wish I would have known at the age of 18 that I had to learn the hard way and basically figure out after 20 years is positivity is very, very important in everything in life. So instead of getting mad about things and having disdain for your fellow man and arguing and bickering and being divided over all this stupid petty stuff, it is extremely important not to dwell on that stuff. It's extremely important not to dwell on the past, and it is extremely important to be positive as much as you possibly can and to give that positivity back to the world. You know, they say laughter is the best medicine, and I've learned that that is 100% the case. I've known people that are absolutely miserable in their lives. They just find negativity in pretty much everything that they do. And those people are the ones that suffer the most. They can never actually get control of their lives. They can never be happy. And they never have positivity around them. Everything that they're surrounded by is negativity. And it shows in their health, it shows in their emotions, it shows in their personality, and everything about them exudes the emotions that they put out. So that's where it becomes extremely important to prioritize positivity and surround yourself with positivity. People that make you laugh, people that support you and back you up, and do the same for other people. And I've learned that once you start doing that, it's also very empowering, because once you start giving that positivity back to the world and you see how people respond, and you see people's faces light up when you walk into a room and people start to enjoy being around you, you start to leave a mark on the world. And granted, it might be a small portion of the world, but you're still impacting somebody's life in a positive way, and that is what is most important. And that's a bonus lesson that I also think is very important, is that being selfish is actually a good thing. And that is something I wish I would have learned a lot sooner in life, because we're taught to not be selfish, that we should always be giving back, we should always be doing things that are selfless, and we should put our own feelings and priorities aside, when in all actuality, it is actually a good thing, and it pays to be selfish. Because being selfish means that you're doing things that benefit you, that allows you to spread positivity, and ultimately allows you to be grateful. Because without selfishness, without thinking of yourself, you would never be able to prioritize your health, you'd never be able to give back. Because a lot of people will say, well, giving back is selflessness, but it's actually being selfish. There is a part of you that's giving back because it makes you feel good. So the fifth thing I wish I would have known at 18 that I had to learn the hard way is that being uncomfortable sucks, but it is very, very important, and it is very necessary. So what I've learned is that if you're comfortable all the time and you're never pushed outside your comfort zone, you're never pushed to your limits, you're never faced with challenges, and you never have anything to overcome, then you can never grow. When you deal with these uncomfortable situations and you come out clean on the other side, you're going to learn very hard lessons, but those lessons are going to stick with you for the rest of your life, and they're probably going to help shape you into the person that you end up becoming years or decades down the road. And that has been the case for me, because all the things that I dealt with, especially with my health, and I was in a really, really bad state to the point where I just thought it would be better to die. Had I have given up, I wouldn't have learned or gained anything from that. And since I struggled and pushed through for over a year trying to figure this out, I learned so many hard lessons that made me into who I am. It forged the path to get me here, and it taught me lessons that are absolutely invaluable, not just to me, but to other people. And that's one of the reasons why I pass this information on, because I know that when I was in that position, I was in that situation, I would have given anything to have somebody sit me down and be like, look, I went through this before, and here's what I did to fix it. And if I was able to learn something from that, and it saved me, months or a year of suffering, it would have meant the world to me. And the fact that I'm still here today and I can do that, as bad as all that stuff was that I went through, and as uncomfortable a situation as it was, I would do it over again 1,000 times, and I would not do anything different if it put me here in this same exact position. So being uncomfortable, it can really suck, but it's easy to get uncomfortable. It could be just a matter of talking to strangers when you're out in public. That makes me uncomfortable sometimes, but the only way to get through that is to do it. It could be as simple as jumping in a cold body of water, like something I have behind me right now. That's stress on the body, that makes you uncomfortable. A sauna is the same thing. Pushing yourself to learn something new, or to explore a new town or a new city, or anything that pushes you outside your comfort zone and causes you to learn and expand what you think you know about the world, that is being uncomfortable, and that is going to build character and help shape you into a stronger, more rounded individual. And had I known all that stuff 20, 22 years ago, I would have taken a lot more risks. And they're not always going to work out, but I'm never going to lose, because even if I fail, I'm going to learn a lot along the way, and the next time I try it, I'm going to be that much better off. And the sixth most important thing that I wish I would have known at 18, that I had to figure out the hard way, is that it does not matter what people think about you. And this is something that took me a really long time to learn and figure out, because back in my earlier days, like around the age of 18 and early 20s, I cared a lot what people thought about me, and it really held me back from doing a lot of the things in my life that I wanted to do. And it also ties into being uncomfortable and pushing myself outside my comfort zone, because there were a lot of things that I was not willing to do just because I feared judgment from other people. And when you have that mindset and you won't do things just because you're afraid of what other people think about you, that is not a way to live. You should never allow other people's thoughts or opinions of you dictate any aspect about your life whatsoever. And that was a very hard and uncomfortable truth for me to learn, and it was really hard for me to accept that. So there were a lot of instances where I minded my P's and Q's, I didn't speak my mind, I didn't take risks, I wasn't able to properly express myself and be the person I actually am for fear of judgment. And once I realized a lot of these other truths I just mentioned, especially about positivity and nothing really mattering, I was able to let all that go. And letting go of that felt so good. It was like 1,000 pounds had been lifted off my shoulders, and I was finally free to be the person I am. And when I finally learned all this stuff, I decided, you know what? It doesn't really matter what people think about me, because at the end of the day, we're all going to wind up in the same place. And even if you're the most powerful person in the world, you're a well-known celebrity, or you've impacted, hundreds of thousands of people's lives, in a generation or two, you probably still won't be remembered unless you're written in a history book or a textbook somewhere. And that's not a bad thing. That is actually very, very empowering. And from what I've learned, it gives you permission to live life on your terms, to not fear judgment, and to go after the things you want in life, regardless of what anybody else thinks about it. So if you have any lessons outside of the ones I mentioned in this video that you think are very important, let me know in the comments below. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like, subscribe, join the Apex Tribe, and I'll see you in the next one.